and I think it's funny that all of a sudden I have to be a Harvard or Rhodes Scholar in relationships. But we mentioned Lori Harvey many times. Her father, her stepfather, Steve, he does the same thing. Does anyone question? He's a comedian, isn't he?
Steve Harvey and Kevin Samuels give very different advice to women, and you'll hear both of them explain the reasons they decided to enter into this field, and it's because of their own personal experiences. Kevin Samuels tries to compare himself to Steve Harvey, but there's no comparison when you look at their relationship resumes. They both have 2 divorces under their belt, but Steve Harvey has been in a successful 12-year marriage with 7 kids. Kevin Samuels, on the other hand, is single. It's said that he does not have a relationship with his only child, and he has back child support that he has not paid.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he has any background, and I don't think he has a doctorate in any of this stuff. But we don't. But see, that's the thing. When we disagree with the man, we go straight to ad hominems, and things like this are just attacks against the person. And you can get through a lot of stuff rooted in that, attacks against the person. Judge things on the outcome. And if what these people who have an issue with what I'm saying, if they got a better outcome, talk about that. Talk about your solution. Talk about what you need to talk about and let the market decide. But that's the point. The market's not listening to that same stuff anymore because it doesn't appear to be getting the outcomes.
Well, yeah, I mean, you mentioned Steve Harvey. He wrote a celebrated book on relationships that was made into a movie, Think Like a Man. He's on his 3rd marriage.
But like I said, when you're telling the market, or we telling women what they want to hear, your background doesn't matter. But when you're telling them what they don't want to hear, we gotta look at your progress reports. You gotta look at your high school transcripts and who is this? This is nothing new.
And so I was in the kitchen with my father-in-law. I was making a sandwich, and he was in there sitting at the table. So my father-in-law, who's in his 80s, said, young man, what's your plans for my granddaughter? He'd been over the house 4 times. And he said, I ain't really got no plans. So I started making the sandwich. I say, yo, my man, every man has a plan for a woman. We may not tell her what the plan is, but the moment we walk up to her and introduce ourselves, we have a plan. So what is your plan for my daughter? He said, oh, no, it ain't like that. I said, no, what do you mean? So I sit down now. So it's me, him, and my father-in-law. My father-in-law is a really, really good old dude. He said, no, everybody got a plan. What's your plan for my granddaughter?
The advice that Steve Harvey gives women is to help women recognize the BS from men. His book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, was inspired because in his past, he was the type of man that he warned his daughters about. Steve Harvey doesn't rate women, and he tells the truth about men and how men maneuver in the dating world.
Well, be honest with you, hadn't really thought much about it. I said, come on, man, let's cut this bull out. You've thought about it because you've been over here 4 times. My daughter seemed to like you a lot. So just tell me and my father what your plan is for my daughter. So after about 10 minutes, he looked at me, he said, well, we just kicking it. I said, cool. Brandy. I called Brandy in the kitchen. I say, sit down. I say, my man. I said, tell my daughter what you just told me your plan for her was. He said, oh, no, Mr. Harvey, you just asked me, and I said, no, that. Tell her, no, really, let's cut this out. You tell my daughter what you just told me and her grandfather, what your plan is for my daughter. He said, well, I told your father we just kicking it. And my daughter's face just cracked. And she was so hurt. And she got up from the table and walked away. So I go in there to see about it. She said, Dad, I can't believe he said that. I said, she said, Dad, why did you make him say that? I said, what, you don't want to know? See, that's the problem. Y'all want to go along with this like it's all right and you ain't got it. Let's find out today whether you have something or not, and so you can go on with your life. So she asked me, she said, Dad, how do you know this stuff? I said, baby, I've been a man the whole time. I've never deviated. I ain't never tried nothing. I ain't curious about else. I do manhood. She said, Dad, you know how many women don't know that? I said, I don't know. I'm just telling you. She said, you ought to write a book. That's how I wrote the book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man.
If you read the title, it says, How to Get the Woman You Want. Join the CIA. CIA. What does CIA mean? CIA is a term, this little acronym I use. Confident, intelligent, arrogant. Or you can just say cocky, infuriating asshole.
Kevin Samuels admits that he is an advocate for men, so his advice to women actually benefits men. He admits that he has been hurt by a girl in junior high, which is what inspired him in the way he treats women and the way he speaks to them and acts towards them.
And like most simps, when I liked a chick, I did the simp stuff. You know, I immediately start paying a lot of attention to her, telling her all the stuff I like, fawning after, running behind her. Young boy stuff. I was in like the 6th, 7th grade. Long and short of it, every chick that I ever liked, I automatically start simping for. Now, here's the thing. I have girls that liked me, but, you know, I could, you know, man up for them because I wasn't interested. But as soon as my feelings started getting involved, it was almost like I became a woman. So let me fast forward. What happened with Car? Car ended up, she was my girlfriend, checked the box, and you'd be like, yes and no. We're like in 8th grade by this time. You know, and like most simps, she got tired of me like that. So she broke up, broke my little heart, shattered me, destroyed me. No men around, didn't know what to do. No one really to talk to. Somebody talked about this stuff in the 80s. So luckily, testosterone kicked in. And then this chick I was calling left and right. This is back when you call people and you know, you get a busy signal. You know, the stuff we used to have to do on the phone, you get the busy signal call back. There was no caller ID, you know, man, it was crazy. So anyway, after my testosterone kicked in, I got pissed off at this chick. I was like, I got to a point where I got over her. Well, I ran into her the next year in 10th grade. Ran into her in 10th grade. She remembered the simp version of me. I grew 9 inches over the summer. So I went from being 5 feet tall, roughly in 8th grade, to 5'9" in 3 months. 9 inches over the summer. Incredible. So all of a sudden, I'm Big Willie. So all of a sudden, these chicks that chick that I used to like, who I simped out for, all of a sudden she was throwing herself at me. But I didn't care no more. So she called me and I wouldn't answer the phone, or I'd talk to her and I'd just blow her off. I learned something right here. This is almost like a laboratory experiment because I'm a strategic-minded person, technical-minded person. I start putting this stuff through scientific process. If nice got me bad behavior, bad seemed to get me good behavior. So I started being more bad. Here's what I learned. The worse I treated women, the more they liked me.
It was the last day on earth for both of these men. Which one of them seems happy? And which one of them would die alone?